Welcome to the Dylan Hildreth Show. This is going to be a Hildreth Media YouTube exclusive. We have all seen the result of the Northwestern hazing with Pat Fitzgerald now being fired as of Monday. And they also came out with that Friday before of the 2-week suspension, with training camp being 3 weeks down the road, leading many to believe that this is a slap on the wrist. And with not knowing the whole story from Friday to Monday, you couldn't be for certain. But then all hell breaks loose on Saturday when the Daily Northwestern releases their article, and pretty much is a tell-all from a unnamed whistleblower of these acts that happened under Pat Fitzgerald's watch. Now, did Pat Fitzgerald know about it? We don't know. But before we officially turn back the clock, make sure to like the video, subscribe. That way, you can get this video up and out and going to as many eyes as possible. That way there is no confusion on what's going on here. So, going into the original timeline, the very beginning, it all started on November 30th of 2022. Northwestern receives an anonymized email containing hazing allegations. And then in December of 22, the complainant speaks to investigators interviewing 50 people associated with Northwestern program and reviewing. In the article and in the report, it said hundreds of thousands of emails dating back to 2014. And then in January of 2023, Northwestern confirms the investigation after Adam Rittenberg of ESPN broke the news on Twitter. So this goes back to at least November of 2022 of the actual investigating. Now, we go to over the last week. The official summary comes out, and it results in Pat Fitzgerald being suspended for 2 weeks without pay. Again, being 3 weeks out of training camp looks like a slap on the wrist, leading many people to believe that, okay, maybe the hazing isn't as bad as what is believed. But then the Daily Northwestern comes out just the next day with their article, and the link to that article will be down below. Go check it out if you can handle all the trigger warnings of SA, unaliving ideation. There's your warning. It's a heavy article, but the article, very well written article. Nicole Marcus, Alice Brown, Cole Reynolds, and Davea Bardwaj. I'm butchering the last name, and I apologize. But this article is from a player he's staying anonymous, but he is speaking out on this. Now, normally I would look at the anonymous sources and kind of roll my eyes. This one, though, you get it. You understand it. Because of how rabid college football can be, especially with someone as powerful as a beloved football coach player like Pat Fitzgerald, and essentially being the one responsible for firing him. and I don't mean like this player is directly responsible. It's Pat Fitzgerald's fault he has been fired. However, but you know what I mean. But again, this article, I want to warn you before you dive into this article. It is very graphic, very detailed. But some of these acts, they're not hazing. This whole Northwestern hazing situation, hazing is very, very soft compared to what this is. This is straight up assault. This is SA. There had this thing called a Runsgiving. Shrek's list containing names that indicated that players needed to be ran, which pretty much meant that they would be held down and dry humped in a dark locker room. And again, it gets more and more graphic as the article goes. And there's a quote in the article, everyone would just be looking around at each other like, bro, Fitz doesn't know about this because you wouldn't take the actions otherwise. Everyone joins in because he's the head coach. So, that leaves me to believe he probably knew. Now, before I read this article this morning, I believe that I think Fitzgerald knew the hazing was going on. And I think he did know that there was hazing going on. Did he know that it was of this degree? I don't think so. And and as I said, this really isn't hazing. This has crossed the line of hazing. This is assault. There is no other way around it. This is assault, and everyone who knows about this needs to step forward, be a man, step forward, and make sure that everyone involved in this, and I don't care how many people, whether it's 10 people, 20 people, or 100 people, these people need to go to prison for what they made these people do. And if it comes out that Pat Fitzgerald knew about this, then his legacy will be forever destroyed. Not just tarnished, destroyed. And what tarnish? And for those who may not know too much about Northwestern, this is the accomplishments that could be completely wiped away because of this. And I'm not even gonna call it a hazing scandal anymore. This is straight up assault. This assault scandal. Now there is some hazing, but this is assault. There's a huge difference between the hazing that you see everywhere and this. This crosses a line. Hazing happens everywhere. Every university has it. This isn't hazing. This is assault. And much, much worse. Now, as I went on, the legacy of Pat Fitzgerald that is on the line if it comes out that he knew about it. This is what he's throwing away. As a player, two-time Nagurski Trophy winner, two-time Benark Award winner, Jack Lambert Trophy, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year twice, and Consensus All-American twice. That is the accomplishments he's throwing away. He's potentially throwing away as a player. As a coach, 110 and 101 at Northwestern, two Big Ten West titles, 5 bowl wins, 2 10-win seasons, 2018 Big Ten Coach of the Year, and the 2020 Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year. That is on the line if Pat Fitzgerald knew the extent of what was going on. Like I said, if he knew everything that was going on, if he knew all the essay that is going on, all the assault, then we're talking more than just out of a job. We are talking about potential arrests that should be coming. If he knew the extent of what was going on. Now, we don't know exactly how long this dates back to. We also don't know how recent it was, how recent it's happened. I haven't looked at the Kenosha, Wisconsin camps of how recently they've gone, but this kind of stuff certainly doesn't need to be happening on a college campus anywhere. And this, again, I don't think I would like to think that Pat Fitzgerald didn't know the extent of this. I'm sure I believe that Pat Fitzgerald thought it was just the normal hazing that you see in every college campus. But he was wrong. And this article was pretty much the tipping point of what got him fired. Now, Northwestern's going to say that they fired him with cause. Pat Fitzgerald's pretty much going to say it was double jeopardy because there was no new evidence that came out. But I don't know exactly where this is all going to end up legally. But depending on the full results of the investigation, we could see potential charges being brought, some serious felonious charges coming. Felony is getting handed out to hundreds of players, potentially, and to the coaching staff. Because I can guarantee you, there's somebody on that coaching staff that knew everything that was going on. And whoever that coach is, he definitely needs to have the book thrown at him and thrown under the jail. You cannot tell me that these kids kept this type of secret from, at the very least, the position coach. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. I don't believe it. Somebody with power in this coaching staff knew what happened, and they're still on the staff. Pat Fitzgerald's the only one that's been fired so far. And I'm inclined to believe that he did not know. He did not know the extent. I think he knew hazing was going on. But the extent, I don't think so. But somebody on that coaching staff knew every single thing that happened, and that is the coach that needs to be fired and thrown under the jail and thrown away the key. I'm Dylan Hildreth. This is Dylan Hildreth Show.